Okay guys, what's going on?
So today I'm actually doing a separate video on a homemade hot tank. However, I really want to hot tank the heads for the Mustang. So here are the heads that we're going to use actually. So these ones are just a little bit better. All the exhaust studs come out. However, I am going to show today how to remove the springs and the keepers out of this using one of these cool tools. This is a PKY unit from Amazon, but we're just going to go through and remove all the keepers as well as the valve stems, and then drop out the valves themselves. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I do still need to take the plugs out of these heads, and then what I will do is I will actually go back in through the magic of, oh, and there's the full lifters, through the magic of video editing, and you will see those first. So you'll see at least how to remove the cams. I mean, it's just bolts, guys. Like, it's pretty easy, and then you just pick up on the one side. It looks like that's the back, so you just pick up on this side and it all comes out. The 4.6 design, I believe actually all modulars do use the design of, they do not have cam bearings at all. So it makes everything super simple. So I'm going to take all of the spark plugs out of this, and then we'll set up and start pulling the actual valves out and whatnot. So what we're going to do, since this isn't going to a machine shop, I mean, I'm literally going to hot tank this myself, is all of these are going to be pulled and then go directly back into the exact same positions. I'm probably going to hot tank the individual components, but I didn't want to hot tank the seals. So this is a good, these two heads are a good starter head for me, and then I can also do the other ones when I get done with them. So that's my plan. Okay, so this tool is pretty cool how it works. Okay, so this is actually what compresses down the actual valve. Let me show you how this works. Okay, so we've got some good light right there. Okay, so you line it up directly with the studs. Okay, for the camshaft retainer plates. Okay, you get four new screws. Okay, so this should, yep, just go down right like that. Okay. Then you have this cup. Sorry, tool's brand new. I've never used it before, but makes perfect sense. So what this cup does is you end up putting the cup directly on the valve. Okay, so let's do this one because it'll be easiest for you guys to see. And then this screws down directly through the top. Okay, it has a bevel on the actual bolt itself. And there, sorry, this one's going to be a pain to get started, I can already tell. But it's got a bevel directly on the piece. Let me see, make sure it's not reverse thread or anything like that. Because I know. Sir, now be careful because I'm afraid that this is just one of those tool things. Okay, no, there's a slight angle to it. Gotcha. Okay, like this. Yep, there we go. Perfect. So we're gonna quickly tighten up these. These don't appear to. Yeah, they're a 10. Okay. We just need these to be snug. We don't need these to be tight. Just like that. Okay, so then this will come down. You also will need a magnet because you're going to be magneting out the keepers once we do this. So let's see what size this is to make it nice and easy. It's not a 5/8. It is a 17. Just for illustration, we're going to put this on an impact. Definitely put it on the lowest setting, but as you'll see, So now this is nice and nice and taut. We're gonna compress down, compress down, compress down. There it goes. So just like that. It started to pick up the thing. It looks like we need a little punch. Let's see. So more than likely this is just because it's caught. Let's see. There it goes. There we go. So more than likely that's because this was just caught, because you should be able to just simply use magnets. Probably a little bit more on this compression. Okay, that's there we go. There it is. That's one of the keepers. So I do like to try to keep the keepers with the valves and everything else. So with this, let's rotate this one to the other side where, yep, it should just fall off. Just like that. There we go. So I have, you guys probably can't see it, but I have everything lined up on the outside of this, but from here you just simply release the tension, right like that. Okay, the cup can come off, just like this, and then the spring should just come out as a full assembly right there. So this is the portion that was kind of binding originally for us. I've heard of people before taking a socket and smacking them all, which we can go through and do that real fast. It does not take very long at all. Ideally, actually, what might make even more sense is because, like, say, here's the whole piece with the keepers. I can actually tip this up, since we've got the head on the bench. Simply push the valve entirely out, just like that. And then come back over here to the spring. Okay, and we can actually just do this as a full piece where everything sits nice and together, and you don't have to worry about anything. Now I will, since if you just do this and then you set it back on the bench, the valve up, it will just fall out. So you need to make sure that you push this all the way back up. So set something like that right there. At least should be decent. I'm sure you can rig up something with rubber bands, but I probably won't. And then the cool thing is, this is the actual, that's the actual seal right there. So I've got a new set of them. I've not looked up how to install these, but I've also heard of people literally just taking, like, my understanding, just taking like, oh, that's literally it. Oh, that is very simple. So cool. Well, we're going to pull out all the seals out of this one, because even though I'm not going to use these heads, I'll probably refurbish the heads, just to do it, just to learn. But yeah, that was incredibly simple to do. So, and those are all going to be junk. But then, as you see, this tool can accommodate up to 4 valves. There is 8 on each head, being that it's a 2 valve per cylinder. So you'll have 16 total. But yeah, this tool, there's a couple of different tools. There was this one, as well as this other one. So this brand is a PKY tool. I think it was about $27 on Amazon. I also ordered this one, and I'm going to get the container all greased up if I don't be careful, because I'm going to return this one. And that's what it is. Okay, we'll just change this glove. That'll be fine. So this is the other tool. So this tool allows you have to keep the cam in first, but as you see, here's how this works. It literally sits in there on top of the valve, and you use the cam to push up, and then you can pull the keepers out right like that. So I could see the benefit of this tool. However, I think that this one actually is just better pretty much all around, because you can pull the cam. I should say, maybe if maybe if you weren't pulling the timing, but like the timing looks really simple on these motors to fix, and like I could see benefits to both sides, but this tool, like for me, isn't the route to go. I'm gonna go with these because like I'm never gonna have to replace a valve stem on the car, I would assume, but like even so, like you can easily remove the cam, so not really a huge deal from my perspective. But yeah, so I'm gonna go through, remove all of these, and then turn around and get this moving. So let's circle back. Well, this head's ready to be hot tanked. So it's got all the valves pulled out of it. As you can see, we have them all lined up. I do still have all of these dowels, or I'm sorry, these would be the equivalent of like lifters. I don't know if they still are a lifter or not technically, but I do have these all as well, all set out, and I do know the order in which they were all set in. So the front of the head was this direction right here, rear of the head was that direction. So I can go ahead and set up all this stuff right here. And what I like to do personally, now the keepers are going to be something hard to deal with. Technically the keepers don't matter where they go, but what I usually like to do is I like to take a piece of cardboard, punch through it exactly to showcase where everything is. So I'll probably do that real quick just to track. This is something weird that was stuck in one of the heads right near the spark plug, so pulled that out with just a pair of picks, and we were good to go. I did realize, so there was this temperature sensor on this side. I did break it. It's a 3/4. I would probably just use a wrench on the heads that I care about. If not, you'll just have to plan on replacing this as well. It doesn't look like it actually sees any coolant technically. No, it does not. So this is just a radiant temperature sensor. So, but yeah, we'll turn around and do the same to the other side, and then we can get these in the hot tank. So now that we have the other heads in there, I think it's time for us to focus on the heads I actually want to use. We're going to prep them all up exactly the same way, and then we're going to put them also in the trash can. So we'll see how they turn out. What's going on tonight, guys? So it's been a couple of days. However, we need to reassemble these heads. I did get the correct seals in. So these are Sam 72891 from Felpro. So those are the correct ones. However, first I want to redo how these valves are. So how we are going to do that is dropped one of those. But how we are going to do that is we are essentially going to let the valve seat sit in some degreaser, probably for, I don't know, half an hour or so. And then we're going to take it off, and we're going to take just a Brillo pad very lightly and a drill, put this in a chuck in a drill, probably with a piece of hose. And then we're just going to clean up the seats real nice and clean, and then we're going to reassemble the heads. Okay. All right, so from there, I'm going to start letting these soak. Additionally, what I did go ahead and do is I picked up some of this Neverdol. So I'm actually going to hit up, let me move this out of the way now. I'm going to use the Neverdol actually on a number of the different surfaces. So I'm going to use it on the intake surface, which is right here, as well as up here as well. Oh boy, I am just making a huge mess. So that's at least my plan. I'm going to get this started, and then we're going to start cleaning it up a little bit, and hopefully we can make these heads really shine nice and bright. They should turn out quite nice. So let's get started. Okay, so now that we've got the head sufficiently prepped, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of assembly lube, and we are going to place all of these seals directly in their corresponding holes. So why we're doing this now is because when I start to bring out the valves, I want to be able to just very easily put them directly in without having too much issue. So I don't believe that there's technically like a press fit for these other than just pressing on directly with the valve seat itself. But with that being said, I'm just going to put a little bit of assembly lube on these just because they are a rubber seal. We don't want those to come popping off. Let me see real quick. We'll give a test one. Yeah, those should just seat with the spring pressure. So there we go. So now we just do this for the remaining 8 real quick. Okay, so now we're going to orientate the head so that this is the front, right like this, right here. Right there. Okay, so this is the front right there. And then all we're going to do, I'm going to do one more wipe of these. These cylinders turned out real good. We started with 400, then went up to 600 actually on the sealing surface itself, just to get rid of a lot of that debris and grossness. But with that being said, we are just going to clean all of this up, and then we're going to start pulling out all of the goodies. So we're going to work with these one by one. So, oh man, that's starting to get weak on that side. That's fine. So here is the valve. See real quick. This thing should be pretty much gorgeous now, but let's just take a quick wipe. Yeah, pretty much all of the grossness came off of it. Any of the baked up stuff. Now there's a little bit of like just sedimentary rust from it sitting in the junkyard. So we are going to do, let me see if I can find a little bit of hose. Basically, we're going to do the trick where you just put it in the drill chuck, and then all I'm going to do is take one of these non-scratch pads with a little bit of probably soap for lubricant, and all we're going to do is just clean up the surface area right there, and she should be good to go for reinstall. So, and here's what it is. We got some 7/16. All we're going to do is just open up the drill chuck like this. Go. Now we don't need the crazy speed, but as you see right like that, that's all we're really looking for. So I'm going to take a little bit of this right here, take a little bit of non-scratch. We're going to start with that one, see if that gets it nice and clean or not. So once we have it just like this right here, yeah, it's starting to get some of it off. Let's see. Take a look. Okay. So I mean it's doing some of it, but you know what, we're gonna step it up just a bit, just because of this isn't that crazy. Just the scotchbrite pads. So let's give that a shot to see where we're at now. Oh, see, that's what you want to be careful of. So, yep, the scotchbrite one just took it right off. Beautiful. Exactly what we were hoping for. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to trim this down so that we can get a little bit tighter. So, just like that right there. So, here is our finished product, right like that. Oh wow, that is turning out gorgeous. Go. So, just like that, she is all done. Might take a little bit more on the inside there. Hard to argue with that right there. And all we're going to do is just simply slide it right back through. Maybe take a little bit of lube. Okay. There it is. Perfect. Now to do that 7 more times. Okay. Okay, so now that all the valves are done, let's take a look. We've already oiled up everything, so I'm just making sure that the seats are as seated as they are going to be without the springs on them, at least as of just yet. So, since we've kept this all correct, this should go together pretty nicely. So, what we are going to do is we are going to simply drop these parts in. So it's not going to be a big deal if it doesn't fully seat as of just yet, because we still have to put like the keepers and whatnot on. So that's just Like I said, it's not a huge deal, thankfully. We're just gonna go nice and slow, make sure that everything's nice and seated prior to really making sure everything, before we try to screw anything up, I think is probably the easiest way to put it. So since we put all of our keepers back in, the keepers are not directional. Okay, you might need a little pick, which I happen to have right here. Actually, I got one of these. Even easier. See? Yeah, there it goes. Just like that. So, we're simply going to get this ready to go. Right there. Right there. I'm trying to go through as well with the top of the seat heads because there's some junk on there. Try to clean it all up. You know, I mean, a lot of this, thankfully this is all the valve train, so this is all washed in oil anyways. So anything that we miss debris wise, obviously we want to avoid that as much as possible. But we're going to have to do an oil change on this car probably after about 500 miles anyways, given that we opened up the motor, just to make sure that there's not anything that we missed that could be causing any issues. So I'm just going through right now, pulling all the keepers out along the line. Makes my life a little bit easier when everything is said and done. And it looks like you can also cheat a little bit and simply push down so that the valve contacts the keepers that are stuck in the top of the hat. And it should be good. Let's see if this one, yeah, this one comes out too. So yeah, this is pretty easy. Get yourself a nice, like I said, a pick. I've got a pair of tweezers. The tweezers are working out perfectly for something like this. Makes it nice and easy. I've kept my springs in the exact same orientation the entire time. I could not tell you if they are directional, unfortunately. It's something you should probably look into if you are concerned. I know, like with LS motors, beehive springs are directional, but it's a very obvious direction, so it's not like something you can really screw up too much. So there we go. Okay, now that all the keepers are out, you're going to grab our tool here. Simply get everything lined up nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to set that on top right there for my use. We're going to do this. Another thing to consider, maybe use a little bit of oil on some of these screws. Since they're going in and out a whole lot, it probably wouldn't be the worst idea ever to do. Let's see. Okay, just like that. And this should be a 17. Let's see if I can rotate it. Okay, so we're just going all the way down first. Okay, then we're going to come back up. The reason why we are doing that is we are trying to get the seal to seat. Okay. All right. So now with it fully down, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, and I don't know if you guys can even see this, but I'm simply just going to take the keeper and push it in. So this is probably when you will actually want an actual pick to do this, and I apologize. Doing it for camera is a little bit difficult, but that's okay. So I'm just going to take this in there. The cool thing about these keepers is they are a set-in application, so once you set them in there, you should be able to rotate them on the shaft. Try to see if that one actually went in. So, once you get them seated, it is much easier. So again, me doing it for you guys makes my life a little bit more difficult, but that is okay. There's the other one. I knew it just fell. So that's pretty much it, and then you just go all the way down the line. So I am probably going to go all the way down once with this hat, just so that it gets everything seated nicely, and then I'll go back and get everything all set up. You could probably use a magnet as well. That's what I used the first time that I did this. However, for this application, I think it's going to be easier for me to do it with a pick. So again, just like the valves, you do this a lot. So all of the valves are back in. There's a little bit of a learning curve to putting the keepers in on these, at least with my tool, just because you have a small window. But once you start getting the hang of it, it's not too bad. So ignore the fan, or I'm sorry, ignore the heater. But what we're going to do real quick is we are simply going to make sure all these are nice and clean, more than anything else. But all we're going to end up doing is basically setting them on top, because since this is a single overhead cam motor, it simply rides directly on top of all of the valves, and yeah, it's nice and easy. So yeah, pretty straightforward, nice and easy to work on. I do need to look up the torque spec for this one, but once that is it, these things are done. And little secret, we'll be painting these, at least the exterior edge, just to give it a nice finish on there. And I've got some nice blue Ford blue, so this will should just clean up the look of it just enough to be nice and just look nice in general. And yeah, should be about ready. This head will be just about ready to go back on the car, so, or I should say, go onto the car for the first time. Now that it's got new valve seals, valves are clean, head's clean. We did take 400 grit sandpaper and then 600 grit sandpaper to both edges. They both look really nice. I'm not worried. I don't see any pitting. Looking at it, aluminum, they even recommend going all the way up to, like, say 150 or 120. We went much finer than that, and we were going quick over top of it just to ensure that there was no issues. So I had pre-lubricated these the first time. I'm simply going to re-lubricate them for putting this cam back on. A little bit here. wipe the grease off of this, since we just put some more on there. I just want to make sure there's no debris in there if we can avoid it. And when everything's said and done, I'll take the valve covers that I've got over here on this other motor, or I'm sorry, on these other heads, and put them on top so that nothing should be able to get on top of there. Plus, we'll actually have a good surface to paint on. So, as crazy it is to me, because these cams have some wear, looking online, it looks like it is true. They really all do look like this. So, there is a kit that you can run to actually convert this to have cam bearings, but I am not doing that, simply because these heads were 60 bucks a piece. I have an additional set, and worst comes to worst, just do the work over again. It's not really all that much work anyways. So especially the heads in the car would be a challenge, but at the same point, I'm really not too concerned. So there we go. Simply going to elevate this because once it starts pushing down on the actual valves itself, it's going to just cause a little bit more of an issue. This one is done. This is just because I don't have a good grip on it, that's all. But let's see if I can go like this. Ugh. There we go. Come on. Perfect. All according to plan. So, awesome. Well, we're gonna leave it at that because I still need to work on this one, and this one took me a while. So overall, I would say, you know, it's a little bit of work, but I mean, this is the kind of work that you can look back, be really proud of because how it turned out, and realize that you're gonna have a lot of trouble-free miles on this. Obviously, do your research. I looked into this lightly. I wasn't too concerned. Modern gaskets are very good, and I didn't take one grit to this. So, but yeah, all right. Well, I'm gonna do the other head, and then we'll circle back. Well, we have the second head all together. Thankfully, it really wasn't too bad. So, all we're gonna do real quick is put the rest of the valve train back on for this head, and we're gonna wrap up this little project as these heads will be done. So I did take a little bit of scotchbrite just to make sure I cleaned up the oil passages, as that was like the only real recommendation I saw online for what to do with all of these. But beyond that, we're just gonna send it because it's gonna be fine. So off camera, I'm gonna end up doing the other heads too. I've already got the valves soaking, so it's not really a huge thing. It's definitely not gonna turn out like this. I'm not gonna be grinding down the actual head itself. I'm just putting the valves back in. So thankfully it will really not be too bad, but it's been an educational experience, that's for sure. One thing, so when you're putting the keepers back in, what I found is if you actually orientate the head off of the table so you can rotate the bottom of the valve itself, it ends up making it way easier to get everything into position, because you can use the valve to help guide it in rather than trying to go in with a pick and stuff like that. So I was able to do the second set of keepers and valve train way faster. So it's something I definitely recommend if you are doing this job, to give that a shot. You'll probably find that it is amazing as far as how much easier, because I'll be honest, I was struggling with that, and that's not something I normally struggle with. But then again, the tool is great that we have, but I can see an advantage of the other tool with at least its design, being that it is specifically designed for that type of to be able to get in there for the lifters themselves. So, but I digress. It's not really a big deal at the end of the day. It's just something to keep in mind. So we're just making sure to remove any other stuff in there. Another recommendation that did come from online was to take a look at the top caps, make sure that they are all okay. Ours are totally fine. I just want to make sure that we are not overlooking anything. Putting this one in. This was the worst of the two heads, and it was the driver, which is also the worst of the two ones to do. So we'll be combating this with a high volume oil pump. I already have it, so that should hopefully mitigate any issues that we could have with this job specifically. So let's see. Probably a torque sequence for that, but I need to retorque these anyways, so it's really not a huge deal, at least to me. So but keep in mind your mileage may vary on that, so definitely move in the way that you will be most comfortable, for sure. So let's see if we can get this one to rotate. There's not an actual issue. Yeah, exactly. there's not an actual issue with anything. It's just I can't, there's not a good way for me to put leverage on the head and try to spin it as well. So these are basically, I'm fighting all eight springs at the exact same time, which is why it's been hard. So it is moving though, so it all feels good. The only last thing that we need to do is to throw a valve cover on. I do have some super cool valve covers I cannot wait to show you guys that are not factory, so that is cool. I found some stuff online that I really liked, and I am excited to share that with you. However, I need to fix a couple of things on them, thankfully. As with everything with this car, it's got some cool heritage, so it'll be pretty cool going forward. Cool, let's wrap this up. Well, overall, I would say the project is a success. The heads are nice and clean. Everything's really nice and smooth. There was a little bit of jank on the driver's head. I'm really not super concerned about that. The gaskets are going to be fine. So they're a multi-layered steel gasket. It should be totally okay. We're also copper spray all of them just to make sure that everything's good. But overall, I would say it's a huge success. Really, it was a little bit labor intensive, but it wasn't hard. You know, it took some time, but again, it's just a process. That's it, going through and, you know, probably cleaning the valves is probably took the longest, but it's the biggest value because then they're totally clean. So valves are clean, seals are brand new, heads are clean. I mean, these things are about ready to bolt on. We need to retorque the stuff on the cam, figure out, make sure this is okay, and then double check the oil galley plugs is what I was told. But beyond that, it's ready. It's done. So I guess you guys will have to see that in one of the next episodes. So thanks for joining. Hopefully you guys learned something, and yeah, we'll see if these leak. Okay, catch you guys next time. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. Thank you guys. See you guys later.